Jayo Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari. Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari. Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana. Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana. Yamuna Tiravanachari. Yamuna Tiravanachari. Jayo Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jayo Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari. Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari. Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana. Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana. Yamuna Tiravanachari. Yamuna Tiravanachari. Jai Shri Shri Radha Madhava ki Jai, Shri Shri Rukmini Dwarakadesh ki Jai. Hare Krishna. With the permission from my superiors, we'll discuss Srimad Bhagavatam, 9th Canto, 4th chapter, text 48. Chapter entitled Ambarish Maharaj offended by Durvasa Muni. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Pragdishtam Bhritya Rakshayam Purushena Mahatmana Dadhaha Krutyam Tham Chakram Kruddahim Iva Pavakaha Pragdishtam Bhritya Rakshayam Purushena Mahatmana Dadaha Krityam Tam Chakram Kruddahim Iva Pavakaha. Vaishnavis. Prakdishtam, as previously arranged. Bhritya Rakshayam, for the protection of his servants. Purushena, by the Supreme Person. Mahatmana, by the super soul. The daha, burnt to ashes. Kritim, that created demon. Tam, him. Chakram, the disc. Krudha, angry. Ahim, a serpent. Eva, like. Pavakaha, fire. Translation. Kaunteya Prabhu. As fire in the forest immediately burns to ashes an angry snake, so by the previous order of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, his disc, the Sudarshan Chakra, immediately burned to ashes the created demon to protect the Lord's devotee. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. As a pure devotee, Maharaj Ambarish, although in such danger, did not move an inch from his position, nor did he request the Supreme Personality of Godhead to give him protection. He was fixed in understanding, and it was certain that he was simply thinking of the Supreme Personality of Godhead in the core of his heart. A devotee is never fearful of his death, for he meditates on the Supreme Personality of Godhead always, not for any material profit, but as his duty. The Lord, however, knows how to protect his devotee. As indicated by the words pragdishtam, the Lord knew everything. Therefore, before anything happened, he had already arranged for his chakra to protect Maharaj Ambarish. This protection is offered to a devotee even from the very beginning of his devotional service. Kaunteya pratijanihi namaye bhakta pranashati. Bhagavad Gita 9:31. If one simply begins devotional service, he is immediately protected by the Supreme Personality of Godhead. This is also confirmed in Bhagavad Gita 1866. Aham tvam sarva papebhyo mokshayishyami. Protection begins immediately. The Lord is so kind and merciful that he gives the devotee proper guidance and all protection. And thus the devotee very peacefully makes solid progress in Krishna consciousness without outward disturbances. A serpent may be very angry and ready to bite, but the furious snake is helpless when faced by blazing fire in the forest. Although an enemy of a devotee may be very strong, he is compared to an angry serpent before the fire of devotional service. Namagyānatimirandasya ginanjana salakaya chakshuramitamina tasmai shri guru namo shivaya. Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Vistaya Padare Shrimati Bhakti Vedanta Swami Namane Namaste Saraswati Devi Gurmani Prachane Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Desha Tarine Vanshakal Padarubhascha Kripa Sindhavyacha Parinam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavibhyo Namo Namah. A very rich text and purport. The main theme seems to be protection. Protection by the Lord. And so this made me thinking, what protection are we talking about? What does it mean, protection? How to get that protection? Obviously, the protection of the Lord doesn't mean that the devotee will not die. Krishna is saying in Bhagavad Gita, Jatasya hi dhruvo mrityo. One was taken birth for one who has taken birth, death is certain. So it doesn't mean that the devotee becomes physically immortal. Protection from old age? No, because devotees, the body will also decay, will also become old with all the symptoms and characteristics of old age. The losing of a certain energy and so on and so forth. The external characteristic of old age, the loss of hair or teeth or bodily beauty, bodily shape, and so on. So that protection doesn't mean the devotee will not become old. Disease. Devotees from all over the world and devotees in the history, they also become sick. We have so much evidence of that. Great acharyas, devotees we know, they suffer from disease, sometimes serious diseases, sometimes terminal diseases, sometimes very painful disease. So definitely protection in this case doesn't mean protection from disease. Then protection of what? What is this protection? Protection from the government agents, no, taxations and things. Always see that devotees, when they operate in a certain country, they also have to, either by duty willingly or by the force of the state, law and order or law enforcement agency, they have to pay taxes. You have to follow certain rules, certain restrictions that the state imposes on all the citizens. So it's not protection from civic duties or taxes and things. Protection of property. Devotees have things, money or assets, land, housing. Not necessarily. Sometimes we see devotees lose all the money, lose everything. There's even that verse in the 10th canto, Krishna specifically says, once I especially favor devotee, I take everything away. Yasyaham anugrinami. So protection does not mean protecting one's property. Protecting one's family member, protecting one's children. Children are very dear to us naturally. Krishna guarantee protection of them. Not necessarily. We see many cases. Even the father and mother of Lord Chaitanya, Jagannath Mishra, Sachi Devi, before having Vishwarup, the elder brother of Lord Chaitanya, they had 8 daughters and they all died. Well, I'm sure it wasn't a pleasant experience to have 8 daughters and seeing them dying or being stillborn, I'm not sure, but dying. Devaki and Vasudeva themselves, 6 children, killed in front of their eyes. Maybe not in front of their eyes, but by Kamsa. So it's not protection of our children. So what protection are we talking about? That's a question that was leading my my quest, my research, my preparation for this lecture. So my answer, and it doesn't have to be the only answer, is that protection means protection of the consciousness. Krishna protects the consciousness of the devotee. And there is something which I found very interesting and very relevant in the purport. I don't know if the purport is still there. No, it's not. But Srila Prabhupada stresses that this protection, I read, this protection is offered to a devotee even from the very beginning of his devotional service. Then he say again, if one simply begins devotional service, he is immediately protected by the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Again, protection begins immediately. And practically speaking, we see that anybody who joins the Hare Krishna movement, he or she may be in the movement since very short time. I'm talking 1 week, 1 month. But no, maybe no Bhakta Jim or Bhaktin Jane or Bhakta Jose and Bhaktin Maria or Bhakta Vasily and Bhaktin Tatiana or Bhakta Dilip and Bhaktin Gita. But they come, and in a week, couple of weeks, they are equipped to be protected for life. How long it takes to learn how not to go in Maya? A few days, you can learn a couple of days. Any devotee who comes to Krishna consciousness learns the tools, the instruments to remain in Krishna consciousness. Follow the 4 regulative principles. Chant Hare Krishna, 16 rounds a day minimum. Engage your senses and your mind in Krishna consciousness, either through practical services or through absorbing in the philosophy, through preaching, and so on. And you'll be protected. Your consciousness, our consciousness, will be protected. And that what we get, the information we get in few hours, few days, can protect us for the whole life. We are equipped. Nobody can say, nobody of us can, I mean, let's be honest, none of us can say, I'm not equipped to protect my consciousness. Who can say that? We are all equipped to protect ourselves. We can always chant Hare Krishna, because the mind will say this and it will say that, and the senses, the hormones. There will be a lot of turmoil, turbulence, like on a flight, seatbelt, the seatbelt sign comes on. It may come 10 times a day, 100 times a day. No, but you can always chant Hare Krishna. You can always go to a devotee, Prabhu, can you preach to me? Prabhu, I have a doubt. What is this philosophical answer? So we all are equipped with the tools. And while I was looking a little bit for, I was preparing for this lecture, I was looking for some definition of protections, and one interesting definition I found at one point was that. Sorry, I want to give you the. Yeah, there was a definition one devotee gave that protection means restriction. In other words, we say we have a child and we want to protect him. So then we give some restrictions. Until the child follow our restrictions, is obedient to those guidelines, to those restrictions, will be protected. We tell the child, don't cross the street alone. Or we tell, don't cross the street before looking right and left. Or we tell the child, don't eat before washing your hands. Brush your teeth in the morning. Or go to school. If he wants to play, you say, go to school. So, there is this element that protection means we accept a superior power, superior authority, and we accept to abide, to obey to his instructions. And then we are protected. But as soon as we step out of those instructions, we are not protected anymore. It's like the contract is broken. It's like Wi-Fi. You got a certain area, you go out of that area, you get the connection anymore. Sometimes it's frustrating. I mean, I think we all have those, at least guests. Look at Lakshmi Prabhu, now she was sitting at 6 o'clock outside the office trying to get some Wi-Fi coverage. It can be really frustrating because you want to connect. You have things to do, you have to connect. But you step outside that range, and sometimes it's not sure. You don't know where is the range. You have to kind of try. Sometimes it's not 100% sure. Okay, somebody got range. And then you're not connected anymore. It's like the famous story of Lakshman Rekha. The famous story that Sita Devi asked Lakshman to go and see what happened to Rama. But then he made that mystic circle in the ground and said, don't step out. And then somehow she stepped out, and Ravana could kidnap her. Last point I wanted to make is, when we talk about protection, another verse that comes to mind, very famous verse, is 9:22 in the Bhagavad Gita, which I hope to find very soon. Okay, this is the famous verse. Ananyas chintayanto mam ye jana paribharsati tisha nityabhyuktanam yugakshima vahamyaham. But those who always worship me with exclusive devotion, meditating on my transcendental form, to them I carry what they lack, and I preserve what they have. Preserve, of course, is another expression for protect. And this is one of the famous verses in India, even in the, we could say, in the general India. There are a few verses that kind of every Hindu knows, Yada Yada Dharmasya, and so on. But this is one, it's so famous that there is this, what's called? LIC, Life Insurance Company, a huge insurance company. And they use this as their motto. It's like if they were Krishna. No, Yoga Kshema Vahamyaham, that's their, I don't know, I don't think they can trademark it, but it's their tagline. Their tagline. They use this verse as if they can protect everything. And of course the gross or mundane or superficial and basically mistaken idea is, to them I carry what they lack and I preserve what they have. And of course the materialists think, I have money, I have property, I have health, Krishna will protect that. And I carry what they lack. So it's like, obviously, God does the order supply. Like I have a shopping list, almost like drive-in fast food, can you get me 2 hamburger, 2 Coke, and I carry. And obviously this is not the idea. In fact, Srila Prabhupada says something very important in the purport. He defines this word, Yogakshema. And he defines in a complete different way. He says, the Lord helps the devotee to achieve Krishna consciousness by yoga. In other words, by yoga, by the potency of connection, by giving this link, then it makes him Krishna conscious. And when he becomes fully Krishna conscious, the Lord protects him from falling down to a miserable condition of life. Again, protection of consciousness. Kshemam, protection of consciousness. If the devotee remains willing to get that protection, remains willing to utilize those tools that ensure protection of consciousness. So these are some considerations on this verse. Thank you for your attention. Any questions or comments? Vijay Prabhu.
In the purport, Prabhupada says that Krishna gives immediate protection, but then sometimes we see devotees have been around for 30 years and they leave Krishna consciousness. So, how is that?
What would be your answer?
I'm asking you.
Our observation is that sometimes the devotees, maybe after 5, after 10, after 15, or 20, 30, 35, we step outside that circle of protection. We start becoming slack or loose. We know what's good for our consciousness. We all know. Brahmamurta is good for our consciousness. Chanting in a certain way. We all know there are different levels of chanting. And I'm not talking in a very esoteric, mystical way. I'm talking about how much energy you're putting. Now, are you watching the sports pages of the newspaper while you chant, or you're really putting all you have on those rounds? Reading. How many devotees become neglectful in the reading? How many devotees read 1 hour a day? Solid. Entertainment. We start going back to the entertainment offered by the materialists. It could be via video games, it could be movies, it could be this or that. We start slackening. We start misusing or not using those tools that they're given, that we all have. Again, we all have the tools to be protected. We all have a japa, but we start becoming overconfident. We start becoming complacent. We start thinking we are advanced. We start criticizing others. See, when we come, we know it's obvious, we are not advanced. We come, I mean, not always. Some people come first day, they already think they're great acharyas. But generally, we know we don't know anything. On the first day, we don't know. But then we start knowing, we know verses. Oh yeah, I read the Bhagavad, I read Chaitanya Charitamrita. We start becoming complacent. And then we start criticizing other devotees. We start focusing on the faults. We start seeing, this doesn't work and that doesn't work. He's like that and she is like that. That erodes our consciousness. We know that. And then at one point it erodes so much that that we fall off. It's like if you see this stand, it's a solid stand, but it's wood. What do you call in English? Termites. You know, if termites start eating at these things, you know, for some time it still holds. Okay, so time it still holds, but they keep eating. They keep eating. They keep eating. There's one day you touch it, it falls off. So our bhakti, our dedication to bhakti, unless it's cultivated, nourished, protected by us, means we work on it, we work on keeping that connection, that yoga, we work on keeping connected with the Lord through the tools the Lord gave us, the Lord, the Guru. Then, obviously, we become exposed. We become exposed. We have renounced the protection of the Lord.
Thank you.
Was that answer okay?
Yeah, thank you.
We have this young lady here, and then
I come from a Christian background. This scripture, this teaching speaks to me immensely because I've experienced much evil in Las Vegas, where I'm from. I chant Hare Krishna on the streets of Las Vegas Boulevard, and it's very intense. But 2 Timothy 1:7 says, "For God did not give us a spirit of timidity, but a spirit of strength, of love, and of a sound mind." So the Lord Sri Krishna grants us a sound mind when we take shelter in His lotus feet. Therefore, we have nothing to fear, and we have a boldness and strength that others do not know, that they don't need to know. They just look at us and they know that where does our strength come from? It comes from Krishna. So this purport is very meaningful to me, and I have some insight.
thank you very much for sharing that. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
In regards to protection, Prabhupada wrote a letter to one devotee who was having difficulties, and he said that Krishna can forgive once, can forgive twice, after you're on your own. Meaning that, like you were mentioning, higher authority. You can be 30 years or 40 years devotee, but if you don't take shelter of higher authorities, doesn't mean how many years you can be supposedly practicing, but maybe you're not practicing. Your lack of sincerity. So I just thought I'd just mention that. Even one time, another devotee one time said to Prabhupada, at that time Vishnu Jan Swami was, as usual, always very enthusiastic, always chanting Hare Krishna, and this devotee said, Prabhupada, he has a special mercy. He's always like happy. He says, the mercy, Prabhupada said, the mercy is for everyone. You can also take it.
Yes, thank you. In fact, even in the Bhagavad Gita, I believe Krishna uses that, Srila Prabhupada used that expression, God helps those who help themselves. It's a fact. So that the mercy is available. See, every devotee has already received the mercy. See, if we are sitting here, it means we have received the mercy. So we have everything. We have Lord Chaitanya explained the 5 most potent form of devotional service. We have the holy name. Nobody can say, mantra, I don't know, I never heard. What is that? Nobody can say that. So everybody has the holy name. We have the books, especially in Los Angeles. There's no dearth of books. I mean, there are places in the world. There are places in the world where it's hard to find books. Either they're not translated, or they're out of print, somewhere, sometime in South America, we couldn't find the Bhagavad Gita. But in Los Angeles, I don't think it ever happened. So you had the books, plenty of books to read, to distribute. Then the deities, they are available, of course, at a certain time, but they're available. Everybody can go and take shelter. We got the prashadam. We got the association. Especially here, there's so many senior devotees. It's, probably the cumulative experience of what? I don't know, 1,000 years of devotional service right here. More, actually more. More. If you calculate every devotee, how many years, you have more than 1,000 years of devotional service, successful devotional service. So you can connect with that and say, Prabhu, I have this problem, can you tell me something? And of course the environment, the new Dwarka, the atmosphere. So we have access. But of course, if I have this access and then I go, on internet somewhere, the news of this, the news of that, or much worse things, then I cut myself off from all this. Okay, so thank you very much for your attention and patience. Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai.